So we're gonna go ahead and talk about Skull and Bones. So I read the headline to this article, and my first initial reaction was, no, that's definitely not the case. But after reading some of the information, it's starting to kind of look like that might possibly be the case, and that's pretty interesting. So I figured we can go ahead and get into this. So let's go ahead and check out this article. So was Skull and Bones the biggest financial flop of 2014? Concord, you got competition. And that was my initial reaction, was just, no, the biggest flop of 2024 is definitely going to be Concord. The biggest flop in possible gaming history is probably going to be Concord. But after, again, reading some of the information, I'm actually curious of where this is actually going to go. So let's go ahead and check out the article here. So while it's not exactly nice to talk about certain failures in the gaming industry, if you don't talk about them, then no one will improve from its mistakes. And that's very true. Or, as one of the YouTuber personality puts it, let's all laugh at the industry who never learns anything. Tee hee hee. And that's also very true. If you're not going to learn anything, especially when people are giving you feedback, then you're bound to make the same mistakes. And if you keep failing after, another failure, then that's pretty much on you at that point. So while that line is a bit harsh, it's also very representative of certain companies to keep making the same mistake without thinking that there will be consequences down the line. Easily the biggest one that this line applies to is Ubisoft, which has multiple failures in 2024, with Skull and Bones being the biggest. And that actually was a surprise to me because I had mentioned in one of my videos the other day how many different games there were that had flopped this year. So there was Skull and Bones, there was Star Wars Outlaws, there was X Defiant, and then I believe there was the Prince of Persia, and then there was like one or two other games. So hearing that Skull and Bones was the biggest flop, my first reaction was, no, it's definitely got to be either X Defiant or maybe Star Wars Outlaws. But as you can see right here in this next article we're going to go over, there's some information that actually shocked me for quite a bit. So this was a game that was announced in 2017 and was meant to piggyback off of the success of the naval battles it created in one of the flagship franchises, pun intended. However, over 10 years of total development, including the period before it was announced, the game has numerous restarts, changes, and more that led to it being DOA upon release in 2024. That brings us to the Tech for Gamers, who cites Endymion TV. And for anyone that doesn't know, Endymion TV, he's a great YouTuber. He does a lot of video game content. If you're into the videos that I'm making here, there's a big chance you might like his content as well. He does a little bit longer format, and he's very informative. He's very smart and knows a lot of his stuff as far as the gaming industry goes, is a huge gamer. And so, yeah, if anyone has a chance to check out a channel, I would definitely recommend it for sure. For details about how bad the game did, according to the Skull and Bones, took between 650 and 850 million to develop. That blew my fucking mind. Because it was one of those things, when they were talking about Concord, they had mentioned that Concord was developed for about 400 million. And when that was announced, a whole bunch of people, especially in the gaming industry, were shocked. And not just gaming industry veterans, but like business individuals as well. Hearing that much was how much it took to develop it. Wild stuff. And when you hear this, this is even worse because this is it's almost double the amount. And it's one of those things as well. Well, I'm actually might be more than double the amount, but it's one of those things as well where 400 million was what was used to purchase or to develop Concord. That wasn't including the company getting bought out and then the other assets that were going to be put into play as far as the financial portion of it. So the fact that this game itself was 650 to 850 to me is wild to hear. But and as time progresses and everything like that, once we get more information, then we will be able to actually take a guess as to which one was the worst out of the two as far as Concord or Skull and Bones. I'm still leaning towards Concord being the biggest fail in 2024 and probably in general. But the fact that, there was this much for Skull and Bones to me is so crazy, especially considering how bad of a game it was when it came out. I heard people talk about it. They said that it was full of bugs. The story was lacking. The gameplay wasn't fun. And when you have games out there like Sea of Thieves that's killing it right now in the pirate market, this just adds to it just adds fuel to the fire as far as this game, like it said, being DOA, dead on arrival. So that was just wild to me. So we'll go ahead and continue on. So before you scream, it couldn't have been that high, which I was pretty much thinking in my mind when I first read this. You need to remember that this game has been in development for almost a decade. and that it has gone through many changes during that period. The longer you work on a video game and the more changes you have to make through the period, the higher the price will get, which is extremely true. So if this is true, then that could make it an even more costly endeavor than Sony's big flop that happened in 2024, speaking of Concord. The irony of that is not only that there were apparently massive extensive games, but that there were both live action series that were meant to gain lots of money over time, and yet it won't gain much at all, especially now that with them shutting down, with one of them shutting down. So that's kind of an interesting one, because I remember with Concord, they were stating that they weren't planning on actually doing any like kind of season passes and stuff like that that you would have to pay for out of pocket. That was one of their arguments as to why the game had a charge to begin with, because I think it was like $40 or something like that, was because they weren't planning on adding any type of add-ons later on. Supposedly they were going to have it so that you purchase the game, and any type of DLC or anything that came later on was supposed to be free. Skull and Bones didn't seem like that though. From what it seems like it says here, it was a live service title. They were actually hoping to kind of go like the Fortnite route, where they can do either seasons or have like skins that you can purchase, so that you eventually, over time, they were gonna slowly try to make their money back within the next couple of years or so. But with how terribly the game had done, how bad people reviewed it, that definitely wasn't going to be the case. So let's go ahead and continue on with the last portion here. So, do we blame Ubisoft for what happened in this pirate title? Absolutely, as they should. First, developing a pirate game should not take 10 years, and Rare did it in less time and has made it last quite a while. Second, Ubisoft CEO tried to lie his way to success by noting it was a quadruple A title before it released, which it wasn't even close to being. Finally, when the game did launch, it didn't even hold up graphically and gameplay wise to the title that inspired it. So pretty much, yeah, it was one of those things. People were talking about it. Because I know a few YouTubers and gamers and stuff like that were excited for it, because they really get into pirate stuff. And yeah, it was one of those things that when it came out, they talked about it and they were like, no, like, this game sucks. It's not fun. I'm better off just going back and playing Sea of Thieves. I'm going to continue doing that. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people did, because with them coming out with this game and it being a flop, there was already a niche for it, and there was already a game out there that was doing better than them. So of course people are just going to flock right back to that. And then right here at the end, when you add all this up and throw the company's other titles in the last year or so, you can see why the company is currently in dire straits. So Ubisoft is fucked, in my opinion. It's one of those things, it feels like they've kind of given up on making good games and actually making stuff that players enjoy, and they're more concerned with kind of sending the message or whatnot. And it's really showing in their products. And at the end of the day, gamers are showing their disdain for it, and they're showing them with their wallets that they're not going to be paying for this stuff. They're not going to be going for this type of stuff. And if you guys are going to be dishing out trash, we're not going to spend our money on it. Our hard-earned money, the money that we work hard for, is not going to be spent on stuff like this. So hopefully this is a lesson that not only Ubisoft learns, but the gaming industry as a whole learns. Hopefully other companies see this and start to realize, you know what? Maybe we should listen to what the gamers want. Maybe we should actually go off of what fans want to see in these games, as opposed to what we want to make for them in these games. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Do you guys think that Skull and Bones is going to be the biggest flop of 2014? Personally, I think it's going to be Concord still. I don't think Skull and Bones is going to take that title. I think once all the information gets out about Concord, we're going to see that, yeah, that probably is the biggest video game flop of 2024, and probably the biggest video game flop of 2000 in the gaming industry as a whole. So those are my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you guys could like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys have been watching this long, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, until next time, Harmonic out. Peace.